Arcturians and many other galactic civilizations were here even before humans were here. We were teaching humans and teaching shamans how to be shamans, meaning that all humans on planet Earth do have it, galactic DNA as well.
Hello, welcome to the Happy Insights podcast. My name is Happy Ali, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Rubia Lacerda. She is a channeler, a Ascension mentor, and a quantum healer. She helps light workers and star seeds activate their gifts, clear ancestral patterns, and embody higher consciousness. If you're a light worker and a star seed, this episode's for you. If don't know what those things are, then this episode's for you because you're going to learn so much. She has been publicly channeling the Arcturian since 2020, and she bridges 3D and 5D teachings to support humanity's ascension. Like I said, if that didn't make any sense to you, stay tuned because it will be very helpful to your own growth and ascension. So, welcome, Rubia, to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is ascension and growth and just accessing higher levels of energy and information. And channelers are my favorite kind of people. I want to tell my listeners this is going to be a really fun show. We're going to learn a little bit about Rubia herself, and then she's going to channel for us. And I have some questions lined up, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to support all of us. Please, please, please. Thank you. So, Rubia, can you tell me when you started channeling or when you realized that you weren't like everybody else?
Great question. I feel like I had that realization as a child, very young. I remember thinking, having different thoughts. And at the age of 12, I saw there was a bright light outside of my bedroom. When I could finally open the bedroom window because it got stuck, I was like in that in-between dream state. I saw the tail end of a spaceship. And around the same time, my light language got activated. I started speaking light language inside of the Catholic Church because I grew up in Brazil. So then, through a series of many, many things that happened when I was in then 14 and then I was 16, I discovered that I had mediumship and psychic abilities. And then, life got in the way. I went to university, I came to Australia, I did all the jobs and tried to live a normal life, but there was always my abilities were so online. And I would just say I just have really wild imagination. I can't never talk about this. It's just like live a normal life. And then, through life experiences, I realized this is not the path I want to be on. I started to doing some studies. And then in 2018, when I started to work as a counselor and a healer, that's when the Arcturians started to knock on my door. And I gently told them to go away because, I couldn't tell people that I was connecting with blue extraterrestrial beings. And but then in 2020, through another series of events, I said yes to the experience, and my life completely changed. So I publicly started to trans channel them in 2020.
Wow. How did they start knocking on your door? Like, what do you mean? Did you start hearing them or seeing them, or what was it? Or was there a knock on the door?
So in 2018, I went to Brazil to work as a holistic counselor and a healer. Small town, people had seen me posting on social media and they're like, we want to have a session with you. So I went there, stayed with my family for 3 months to practice. When I started, I remember doing a pranic healing on someone. It's like very similar to Reiki. So I was clearing their chakras. And I had done so many, my hands were hurting and we weren't really talking. And then a month later, they would come back with kind of the same problems. I was like, I can't do this forever. Like, there's got to be something else. I love what I do, and there's got to be something else. And when I had that thought during a session with a client, my third eye blew open and I saw 5 or 6 blue beings. And that's where I started hearing them talk to me. So, and that's when we had the whole conversation. I said, please go away. I'm in a religious small town in the countryside of Brazil. Like, I can't really tell people, oh, everyone, there's blue beings talking to me.
So when you channel now, do you see things or do you get downloads where how does it work? Does your body move on its own? I know everybody's different. What's your process?
So there's different ways of channeling. I have a conscious channeling that if you start asking, like if we go into questions about ascension, I will be conscious channeling and I get visions and I get intuitive nudges. So I hear certain things and I get guided by my heart and my soul where to go. It's not like I am thinking about the answers. When I trance channel is a different it's a different state. It's like I take the back seat, the Arcturians come through and they speak through me. Basically it's them speaking and it's like they are using my vessel as a way to communicate. So obviously you're still going to hear a bit of my accent. You're still going to hear some of the words that I use because they are using me as a vessel.
Right. And they're using your language and your vocabulary, and
Yes.
that's so exciting. I'm so excited. So, um, I kind of want to jump into the channeling, but if there's anything else you want to tell us about yourself or about your journey or about your work, feel free to do so. And also your website and how people can reach you is all in this caption description below. So make sure to visit Rubia. And whether you are a light worker or a star seed or you're not, or if you don't know you are, it's good to raise your consciousness. So go see her. So let me know when you're ready and we can jump in, or if you have anything else do you want to add.
There's one thing that I would love to add. I would love to add that because I know that a lot of people go through this. It was very challenging and hard for me to come out of the galactic closet. I was very, very afraid of people judging me, society judging me. People say that I was making it up, that I had a mental health illness, and I was afraid of my family having to put up with backlash in our hometown because it's a very small town. So it took me a lot of courage. And when I did it, I was very, very scared. I wasn't feeling comfortable, but I did it anyway. And my life completely changed. I used to work in a job that I didn't enjoy, in a life that I didn't enjoy. And nowadays I do this. This is what I do full time. I love it so much. And yeah, it has brought me so much happiness. So the reason why I'm sharing this message, if you have a gift, you want to share with the world and you have fear, I invite you, I encourage you to go out there and share it anyway because your life will never be the same because it means that you're living your life with your soul's purpose.
I was going to actually ask you about that because it's coming out is so important and I forgot. So I'm glad you brought it up because I'm in this transition where I'm starting to receive a lot more information. Like I had an aunt who died, and then I was talking to her daughter, and after we hung up, her mom came through with a very long message, and I was scared to
Wow.
give it to her, and I thought, oh gosh, like will she think? And I sent it to two people, her and someone else, and the other person thought I was just making stuff up. But when she read it, like 2 hours later, she messaged me. She's like, "Oh my God, didn't you hear this?" And then she called me back like the next day. She's like, "Oh my God, I needed to hear this," because she reread it over and over. And the next day, can you please let me share it with the rest of the family? And I was like, okay. I
Wow.
was so scared. I was so scared. It's scary. I've come out as gay. I've come out as so many things. And it's always scary because you don't want, but this one is like telling people I believe in aliens or I talk to aliens. Like, what are you doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm talking to Arcturians later. That's just a little on the odd side, but I love it. It's my new norm. So
Yes, 100%. And one big thing that really helped me is it's not about me. The moment that we make it about ourselves, we get shy and we don't want to do it. But the moment that you realize that sharing your soul gift with humanity means that you are supporting humanity at the highest, you get out of the way. So, like for you, when you shared that letter, you got out of the way because that changed her life and changed her family's life. So, it's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone can call you crazy. They may not believe you. Then keep going because you are going to come across people that will believe you and that will not only believe you, they will receive so much from you. They'll heal and their life will change. And that's what matters the most.
yeah, and you kind of end up weeding out the people that you don't resonate with anyway, and you kind of switch crowds on automatically. I've noticed that. I mean, I wrote this stuff in my books just how it's important to be authentic and just be your real self. But when it comes to actually doing that, coming out and
Mm,
taking that
mm.
step, I think there's a human side of us that's like, oh my God, you know. So, okay, so your message is do your soul's work. It's okay to be weird. The right people will hear it. Thank you
That's
so much
it.
for that. Thank you. So, do your thing, do your magic.
Okay, so I'll close my eyes and I'll say a few things. You're welcome to join me with eyes closed or open, whatever, feels most aligned. And then it will just be about a minute that I'll be silent. And then the Arcturians will come through.
Okay.
Just really connecting with our heart, taking a couple of deeper breaths, connecting with higher self, soul, creator of all that is. Welcoming in, guide and protect us, protecting the field, beings of light and of the light only. And welcoming in the Arcturians, that the message that we share today that serves your audience and humanity at the highest. Dear ones, we are the Arcturians, and it is an honor for us to be here today. Thank you for hearing the call to connect with us so that we could bring messages to you today.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to ask you some fun questions. But before I ask, can you tell us where you're from? Are you embodied beings or disembodied beings?
We do have a body, although it is not dense matter like third dimensional bodies, like human bodies. It is what we call light bodies. And we live in different dimensions. We are not in just one place. We are in different places at different times.
I see. I'm going to kind of go back in time in human history because I've heard about the Arcturians interacting with humans and coming to planet Earth and helping the evolution of human species. How have you, is that correct? That the Arcturians have come in and given information or helped us?
Yes, dear one, Arcturians and many other galactic civilizations were here even before humans were here. We were teaching humans and teaching shamans how to be shamans, meaning that all humans on planet Earth do have it, galactic DNA as well.
So, how have you shaped our human evolution and DNA over time? Have you been here while we were during our civilizations? Like, is there any structures on the planet Earth that maybe you contributed to? Had some people say the Syrians that worked on the pyramids, or has that been anything that you were involved with?
There were many times that we were here, dear one, and one of those times was during Atlantis. And we were here before humans and with humans.
I see. All right, so let's kind of jump into your message because I know you work with Rubia to pass on your message. And one of the things that I heard was about crystalline technologies. Um, can you tell me about that? What is crystalline technology? I have no idea.
What you mean is crystalline nervous system. It is the nervous system of the new Earth human, and that is already being activated on the planet and on human beings. Because the ascension of your planet depends on the ascension of the individual. Hence, why it is so important the work that you are doing, sharing these messages, allowing people to have the realization even more that it depends on them individually. So, the more that your crystalline nervous system is activated, the more you are able to hold more in your field, meaning you are able to create more, to have more abundance, to fully step into your soul mission, and also to make physical contact with galactic civilizations. And to be more specific, imagine your current nervous system. It is a third dimensional nervous system that has a limited capacity. The crystalline nervous system is this energetic nervous system that all humans have. And now it is just a matter of continuously activating it as you are all becoming new Earth humans
How do people activate their crystalline nervous system?
through doing their own inner work. Is through looking at the parts of themselves that they want to ignore the most, that they want to run away from, the hurt, the shadow, potentially ancestral hurt that they've been carrying from their ancestors, things that may have happened in the childhood. It's about going deep, it's about descending so that then you can ascend.
I know there's this huge thing about positive thinking and looking ahead and visualizing like the great stuff and not really going in deep in the dark stuff. But do you end up creating any negative stuff because of law of attraction of something when you go digging deep into the hurt or the pain? Or is it, how does that work with the concept, the idea of what you think you attract?
Dear one, when it comes to connecting with those timelines, those parts of you, it is not about going there, therefore creating more of it. It's about how long do you choose to sit in pain and hurt? And how do you use that in your day-to-day life? Do you use that to tell victim stories, or do you go there? You heal that part of you and you allow that part to coexist with all parts of you. It is a matter of looking at those parts and healing them, but not spending too much time there. And if you do have a hurt inner child, you can do all the positive work and say all the positive affirmations. It doesn't take away the hurt that that child has suffered. It doesn't take away the hurt and suffering of your ancestors.
I see. And how do you, like, let's say, for example, I'm going to use myself as an example. I moved from one country to another in the 80s and I was 10 years old and basically I lost all my family. It was as if they were dead to me because telephones, it was very expensive at the time and letters took a month to get there. And I was very like, felt this intense grief that, and then it ended up making me feel like everyone I love is going to be gone someday. And so, like, how do I go back to that moment or that time and like hug my inner child? What's the process?
There are certain techniques, dear one, and this is one of the things that we directed Rubia to be trained on back in 2020. When we came through in 2018, we had two goals. One was to work with her so that we could come through and bring through these messages. And the other was to support her be on a path where she would be doing this type of work and sharing this type of message. And one of them, yes, it's about going to the root cause of why the fear is there of losing everybody because that has happened, or a part of you believe that that has happened. So it's getting to the core of that and then showing that part of you that you are safe and that everything is okay and that you are an infinite being. So it's not about accessing that part and staying there suffering. It's about accessing that part and showing things that that part of you has not seen yet. It is a very powerful quantum healing process that we can explain it in words with you, and you only know the depth of the power of it once you experience it.
Thank you so much for that. So we need to go and work on our shadow parts basically and not shy away from things that we don't like. I know, for example, there's certain people that don't like politicians, certain politicians, and they try to. they either hate them or they try to not watch the news. Do you encourage people to kind of make peace with those people and so that they're not triggered? Is that kind of a would that be part of growing or evolving and having higher consciousness when there's someone out there in the world you don't like? Would that be part of the work too?
As you are human, you will still be triggered. But it comes down to how long do you sit to be in the trigger for? And how long do you allow, for example, let's say you are being triggered by a certain politician. How long do you sit in the trigger of that? And how long does that person actually has a control in your life because you are getting so triggered by them? So how long do you choose to sit there? And the best thing to do when you get triggered by something or someone is to be really, really honest with yourself and pick up a mirror and say, what is it in that person that resides somewhere inside of myself that I reject, that I don't want to see, that is so deeply buried that I don't want to see? Therefore, I project that dislike, that hate, that disgust onto someone outside of me. So use it as a way to see within yourself. And we understand that this may be challenging for some people to hear. Although know that everything in your external reality, it's there to teach you something and to support you to be in your highest ascension path. And if instead you choose to get triggered over and over, you are going to be stuck in certain points of your ascension journey.
I see. So anything basically that is triggering us is coming from within us. And we are only noticing it because something like that resides in us, correct?
That is correct. You will notice that when you do some type of work, you then no be as triggered by that. And there are some things that trigger you, but they don't trigger other people. It may not reside within them as much.
Thank you for that. I have another question. What is one thing or secret about human potential that most of us don't really know yet, but maybe people are ready to hear now?
Humans are extremely powerful creators. In the same way that you can create more light, you can create more darkness. And in your day to day life nowadays, there are a lot of distractions to distract you from creating more light and being more in the light. So it is about your discipline and being really focused. Your biggest power is your ability to really tune in inside of yourself and finding all the answers that you are looking for inside. Although, in order to do so, you need to let go of some distractions and prioritize going within. And it is very easy to say this. And when it comes to practice, it's not as easy. And that's the challenge. Although, when you do it, you can access what some of you call magic states. You are literally able to create magic. You have seen it in many, many humans on your planet that are already accessing these states. So it is nothing outside of you, once again, it is inside, although it requires stillness, being quiet, being in your space, and going within.
What about certain people that they are quiet, they sit down and they meditate for long periods of time, but they never really seem to get anything? What is a usual block or what do they do? I was just at a meditation. We meditated for 2 hours and some people just got up and they literally got nothing. So what do you think is their blockage, or are some people just inclined not to receive messages that easily?
Dear ones, some people have their channels more open, or some of you would say clairs more activated. There are different ways in which the whole of existence, some of you will say creator or the universe, is going to communicate with you. For someone that sat in that meditation for 2 hours and didn't receive any messages, are they paying attention to the synchronistic signs that the universe is sharing with them in their day to day life? Repetitive numbers. a conversation with a friend, something that they open their social media and they see it there. The universe is constantly speaking with a lot of people, although people are not seeing it. Oh, maybe it's just my imagination. Oh, maybe it's just a coincidence. Because if you're not receiving messages during your meditation, it means that your clair is not activated that way, although life will find other ways to communicate with you. Are you open to receive them, though? That is the question.
And when you go within, is it your soul that's communicating with you, your guides, or all of the above? Or who is usually the dominant force that is communicating with you?
For most humans, will be higher self and soul and creator. And for many, yes, there can be guides and galactic beings and other beings that can come through. But the true essence of the message that you want to receive is when you connect with yourself, your higher self, your soul, the creator of all that is, as some of you may call source or God.
That's exactly what I believe. So I resonate with it 1000%. I'm going to jump a question that I really had for myself. How does somebody know they're a star seed? Because we talked about star seeds. And I'm curious if I'm a starseed. I have a feeling I am like half Syrian, half Arcturian. But how does somebody know, or how can we confirm?
You're one, you trust what you receive. When you say, I have a feeling I'm half Syrian, half Arcturian, you trust that. So it's a matter of trusting yourself more. And you know, as a star seed, we say that all humans have star seed DNA. And there are many of you who specifically identify as being star seed because you are here on planet Earth. Sometimes you may miss a place that you don't know where. You connect with other, as some of you say, black sheeps of the family. You like things that are outside of the box. You are holding a podcast, interviewing channelers, channel other beings. And everyone really that will watch this and feel a connection with us, our message, with you, with Rubia, our star seeds, and you want to change the planet. You want to anchor new Earth realities here. You do this because you understand that there is a better way of living. And many of the things that happen on this planet absolutely do not make any sense to you, such as war, genocide, killing innocent animals and humans. It makes absolutely no sense to starseeds. And that's why you stay on this path of supporting humanity at the highest, because you know that there is a better way.
What can star seeds do, or people do in the face of war or genocide? Like what kind of emotion do you observe it and maintain your equilibrium and energy? Or because I know some people get so sad and then their energy just falls apart because they're empathetic and compassionate. What's your remedy to that, or what do you suggest people do?
Step into your soul mission and do what you came here to do without any fear. Works on the part of yourself that are afraid and allow yourself to go there. Because as humans shift individually, the collective will shift. A lot of what you see, the division and war that you see externally on the planet, it is also a reflection of what's happening inside of humans. Because you do have a light and a shadow. And when you want to fight the shadow that resides within you, there is a war inside of you. And that war gets reflected outside of you. The more that you accept the full spectrum of who you are as a human being, and you works with the parts of you that you may have ignored, the more you're going to see that outside of you. You will see more unity externally when more and more humans experience unity within. So it starts from the inside. And yes, some people will get more affected. We don't want to share messages that are going to allow humans to spiritually bypass some of the things that are happening in your planet. If there is anything that you can physically do any movements that you can be part of that will support those things to end, please go for it. And if you don't, and if you're not able to do that, you don't have the capacity to do that, do the inner work and show up for your soul mission, for what your soul chose to do as being in this human form.
I'm a master manifester. I think and things happen just so fast, and it's almost like the time between my the conception of an idea to where the realization happens is very short. And I remember being at a bunch of protests in 2008 or 9 or something for Iran, and I was really upset and I was really angry. And then all of a sudden, I a series of negative events started happening. Flat tires, parking tickets, just weird stuff started happening that usually didn't happen in my life. So it kind of made me not want to go into that protest mode. And I think I pissed a lot of people off because when there's a cause, like I kind of shy away from it. I'm like, I'm taking care of my own energy right now and lifting humanity by being a light. Is that like, what is your advice for someone like me?
Well, dear soul, you are a sensitive soul and you are sensitive to what happens. So, meaning that, yes, as you said, you are a master manifester, which means that for you specifically and other souls like you, if you go down those paths too much, then yes, you will start to reflect on your reality. So it's about being discerning. There are some humans on your planet that will say freedom fighters or whatever it is, and some of them have the nervous system capacity and the passion, and that's the path that they have chosen, and it may work for them. If you choose that path and you're noticing chaos happening in your reality, it's life and your soul showing you, hey, this might not be the best path for you. So it's about you being sovereign, tuning in and knowing to watch for the signs and follow the signs. So it sounds like for you, yes, it's like being a light worker, doing the best you can for yourself and for the collective, and that is the same for Rubia. She cannot go down those paths because it really does bring down her energy, being a very sensitive soul.
I'm so glad you said that because I did not want to go protesting this week. Um, then my next question is, so I want to ask the most obvious question because I think that we kind of bypassed it for someone who's new to these topics. What is the ascension of the human and the planet Earth that's happening right now? And why is it happening now? And what are we going to expect after this ascension?
Right now, what is happening with technology has never been advanced as it is right now. And humans have been having this realization that there is so much potential for what can be created and what they can access. There is not a lot that can be hidden anymore because many of you are accessing things that were never accessed before. Information that has been hidden, it's no longer able to be hidden. And most humans now have access to knowing that they are truly the creator, the individual and collective creators of your realities. So, right now is really dependent on how you are all choosing to keep moving forward that will shape the future of humanity. And as many have been speaking, the portals of contact have been opened since last year, 2024, in your time, meaning that galactic beings are preparing to come and make physical contact. And that is also dependent on humans and how fast humans activate their crystalline nervous system so that that can be done. So there is a lot that is happening right now and shifting and changing. So you could say that right now, humanity as a whole is going through a spiritual awakening and a very deep one.
And those beings that are getting ready to make contact, what is their goal and mission to make contact with us?
The purpose of making what we call mass contact is because it means that then the earth has evolved to a new level, has ascended to a new level, because right now it is very volatile. And we want to make sure that the earth is ascending to these new levels and not using nuclear weapons, for example. Because unless the earth evolves and ascends, all of existence depends on it as well. It's all interconnected. Hence why so many beings of light are here supporting the ascension of humanity.
When approximately can humans kind of expect the contact to happen? Because it feels like we're in such a big mess around the world right now. I, I, I'm curious. Like we don't seem like we're ready.
Mass contact could happen anytime from this year. And many are saying that it's closer to from 2027 to 2030, although, as we said, this portal of contact opened in 2024 in your planet. So it really depends, dear one, as you said, because as humanity is going through such a deep spiritual awakening, depending on how souls choose to continue their ascension journey individually, it could be sooner. So it depends on humanity.
We have a lot of religious folks in this world. I'm just curious how that's going to affect their worldview because some people think the Earth is only 6,000 years old and the whole world is revolving around us. So will that create a huge level of chaos within all these like devout religious people?
Dear one, we want you to know that there are multiple versions of Earth. You also have lower realms, middle realms, and higher realms of existence. There are some people currently living in higher realms, not even knowing what is happening to the rest of the planet. And as you have multiple realities, there are realities where this may happen, and some people may never even find out about it. And that will really depend. Right now, there is no mass contact in your calendar day today. One of the reasons being what you said, it would create more chaos than support.
So there are parallel Earth basically is what you mean, like different frequency versions of Earth, and what something could happen on one frequency of Earth where the other one will never experience.
That is correct.
But do some people jump down or jump up just depending on how they are activating their like crystalline nervous system, for example? Is that one way to go to the higher Earths? What are some of the ways you can go to the higher Earths other than what you've mentioned?
It is based on a moment to moment decisions that you make. So the decision that you made today to get out of your bed at some point, go about your day, and then you one day decided that you wanted to have a podcast. Then one day you decided that you would invite channelers and other guests. So it's a moment to moment decision. The more you are following your soul's path and the decision that is guided by your higher self and your soul, the more you are changing, you are accessing higher realms of existence. Or you could say, in simpler terms, you are living in a better reality on planet Earth. So that really depends on the choices that you make. How do you choose to live each moment and every day? Does that make sense?
Yes, I kind of see it as following your heart or following love as opposed to fear and feel like everything is a burden or a chore as opposed to fun and more like magic to me. That's how I'm interpreting it.
That's correct. And sometimes following some of those signs will feel extremely uncomfortable. And that is where some people will stop. And it's a matter of, can I follow the guidance of my heart and my soul even when it feels uncomfortable? And when you do that, you are what some of you call quantum jumping, quantum leaping into more soul aligned realities.
I can relate to that. I went from a very secure kind of job and knowing that money was coming consistently to switching careers and being an author and podcast host and hypnotherapist and all this other stuff, where switching careers made money not so consistent like it used to be. And there was this huge fear of, oh my God, let me just go back to the 9 to 5. And I just refused to do that. So I can really understand that discomfort and fear.
And would you say you live in a better or a reality that it feels more aligned, more nourishing?
My life feels perfect. For example, right now, I'm doing one of my most favorite things, which is literally having a conversation with the Arcturians. Life couldn't get better. So, yes, I definitely have to say life is amazing. So thank you again for coming here. Um, so how can people consciously, I know Rubia has talked about timelines and jumping timelines. Did you already cover that when you said it's the decisions that you make, how to go to different timelines, or is there something else you can talk about when it comes to consciously jumping to timelines where the realities are more to our liking?
A lot of people have the idea that quantum leaping into more so aligned timelines or realities is that you are just going to jump there and from one second to the other you are there. And what we say to that is that can happen and it's rare because what can happen if you are maybe in a trauma state or a dysregulated nervous system, or there's parts of your shadow that you haven't looked at yet, and your coping mechanisms of fear and lack of trust or whatever it may be serve you in some way because it serves everyone, whatever coping mechanisms they have. And then from one second to another, you are in a different timeline where some of those things do not exist. You may experience like you are going crazy, or some of you would call psychosis, not able to hold all of that newness in your being. And it can happen with some people that may use psychedelics because that can really do that to people, which can be wonderful in some ways, but in other ways, it can actually create some level of psychosis. So that's why we say quantum leaping is a moment to moment creation. It's a moment to moment creation. I'm looking at this person in front of me. They are triggering me right now. How am I going to choose to respond to that trigger? Will I choose to continue behaving the same way and getting triggered by the same thing every day for a long period of time? Or will I choose to go deep and check what is there and start to shift that and change my life? And every behavior, every conversation, every choice that you make in integrity when no one's watching, it's how you start to quantum leap into these different timelines.
I see. I always think that the world's a reflection of who we are on the inside. So to make a huge leap, you have to make a huge inner change.
That is correct. And it may take some time, but the sooner you start, the sooner you get where it is that you wish to get.
Another thing that I always tell my clients is that we came to this planet to transform, to learn, to grow new spiritual muscles, to evolve. And I almost don't promote quantum jumping because I say, hey, go through the process, enjoy the transformation. Am I saying the right thing to them, or is there a better advice to give people?
Here, one, the best advice is always the one that feels truth in your heart. So if that's the one you've been giving, we say continue to give what feels truth to you and what feels truth to share to them. What we say is that for some people, we will use Rubia as an example. She started doing her mission as a holistic counselor and pranic healer, and she was working full time and doing that as a hobby, and things were never working out. She would never make enough money to even live from that. Therefore, she had a job that she didn't enjoy. And she kept calling it in. She kept calling it in. I want to support humanity at the highest, and I want to do this full time. I don't want some job that is dragging down my energy and making me feel anxious and depressed. So she called it in. That's when we knocked on her door, and it still took her almost 2 years to then allow us to come through. Then we were showing her the signs, go and do this, go and do that, which would come through her intuition. And she chose to no longer ignore her intuition, and she took step after step after step. And that is one of the reasons why we are here with Rubia sitting on this chair having this conversation with you. She quantum leaked timelines so many times in the last 5 years because she listened to the nudges of her soul and her intuition and took aligned action. That is a very important step. For 2 years, she did not take aligned action and she stayed stuck in the same place.
I see. So for her, or for everyone, it's important to take aligned action that otherwise you get stuck. Um,
That
that's
is correct. And knowing that their all paths lead home, there's no right or wrong choice. A lot of people are afraid of making wrong decisions or something going wrong. All that you're going to get is life experiences and feedback, and you will learn more to then you can keep going forward. So it is a matter of not being afraid of failing or spending money in something that's not going to be worthwhile. You may sometimes may sign up to a program, spend thousands of dollars, and you may not like the program, but there is a life lesson in everything that you do.
So for people who have that paralysis where they don't want to make a decision based on the fear that they're going to make the wrong decision, what's an encouraging word? I know you just said something, but what's something like I know a couple of people who are really just stuck because they say they're stuck in inaction because they want to do stuff, but they just don't feel that drive. What do you tell those people?
It is not really a matter of an inspiring message that may support those people. What may be happening is some level of dysregulation on their nervous system due to trauma, ancestral, or childhood. So it is a matter of them accessing the deep inner part of them and the core fear that is usually on an unconscious level that is holding them back. If they are stuck in inaction, it means that is protecting them for something that happened once upon a time that hurt them. If they take action, their unconscious mind, their nervous system sees it as danger. So it stops them from taking action as a way to protect them, as a safety mechanism. So it is a matter of them going deep and accessing those parts, starting to heal those parts and shift them so that then their nervous system, their unconscious mind, and their whole consciousness will then feel safe to take action. Right now, basically, what is happening, they are doing their best to keep themselves safe. Most of the time, unknowingly, because it happens on an unconscious level where trauma and ancestral patterns are held.
Is that kind of the same answer you would give if I was going to ask about somebody having addiction, that they have an addiction to something, their body got used to it, now they want to stop, but they can't? Would it be very similar in terms of what you would tell them?
It depends on the case, dear one. And yes, it can go with addiction because addiction is a coping mechanism. So, getting to the core of why the addiction is there in the first place, the self sabotage is there in the first place.
And do you have any advice? Because I'm really curious about this for people who do have habits that is so hard to break because they've done the same thing over and over and over so many times that even when their conscious mind just really wants to change their habits, they still subconsciously end up doing that thing that they know they don't want to do.
It's the same answer, dear one, about the unconscious mind and the nervous system. It's all connected and it's all on a deep level. So many humans want to consciously do things, but they never do. And when that's the case, it's because it's wired in the unconscious mind and the nervous system.
I see. And so basically more inner work, it would be the answer.
And shadow work and going deep. Yes.
Um, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I want to go back to something you said earlier about technology and how technology is advancing so much on planet Earth right now. And one of the things that's really becoming prevalent is artificial intelligence, AI. What are your views on AI?
Year one, like everything on the planet, it is not really about the AI, for example, artificial intelligence itself. It's about the consciousness behind it or the consciousness that it's using it. It can be used for good and it can be used for evil. So it really depends on how humans will choose to use it. And it is currently a test for humanity because, yes, it is being used for incredible things on your planet. And many of you are already seeing that it can also be used for negative things, like everything else, like social media and the internet. It's the same.
So it's just a matter of how people use it.
And
And
dear one, we have space for one more question, then we will be ready to leave.
okay, so what upgrades in terms of our human energy or do we need to focus on the most? Like, do we really need to work on the chakra system? Like, is it all mind work, or do we need to do energy work as well? Like, what are the levels of upgrading and focusing that we need to do to make sure that we ascend properly and we get the most out of our energy? Is it all mental?
Tier one, definitely not all mental. If you were all mental, we would say all mental. So you are body, you are mind, mental, emotional, nervous system, energy, spiritual. So it's all of the above. And you will be working more deeply with one or two or three of these systems at a time. Sometimes you may be needing to focus more on the nervous system and the health of the body. Sometimes it may be more mental, but it's all of the above. And it's always about which part of me needs the most attention right now. Where is it that I need to go deeper right now?
So that goes back to just going within and checking in to see what your body or what your soul wants to tell you.
That is correct. And please know that for some people, they are not able, depending on the level of dysregulation in their system, to check in, to connect with that intuitive nature inside of them. And sometimes they may need an external reflection to support them do that. You could say with a coach or a mentor, a psychologist, through having conversations so they can find the best path for them to take.
Are crystals and tools like that helpful in terms of clearance and energy clearance?
It depends on the case, dear one, because you may have energy, you can clear an energy, but if there's something in your nervous system or your unconscious mind that it creates that as a safety or coping mechanism, you will come back.
I see. Thank you so much. This has been a very wonderful conversation. I really appreciate this. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, dear one, for your wonderful questions. It has been an honor for us to be here today and share these messages with you and your audience. We are sending you all so much love.
Thank you. That was
Hello.
amazing.
It's
Welcome
11
back.
11 here.
It's 11:11. It's 6:11.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's perfect timing. Um,
Amazing.
that was really amazing. Thank you so much. I realized earlier I said I put the color blue on, and then you said you're bringing in the blue people, and then I saw I finally I figured out why I subconsciously put blue on because I usually don't
Amazing.
put blue on, so I really like that. I want to thank you. I don't want to take up any of your time.
Oh, it's okay. Take your time. I have time.
It's like they need to go, but you're good. So, is there anything that Rubia has to say to the world or my audience or the two people that are going to watch it or anybody that's going to watch this that could that the Arcturians did not mention or it's not necessarily their message, but it's your message?
I'll share something that's really present for me at the moment. So,
Mhm.
really present in my life. I have sometimes challenging personal things that happen in my life, and it's behind the scenes. Not really, not many people are watching. My audience is not watching. And the decisions, how I choose to behave when no one's watching, has really been changing my life. How I am having a difficult conversation with a friend or with a family member. So I feel like this is a big one. You know, that annoying thing that your partner or your friend or someone does that you haven't spoken to them, like all of these little shadow of the shadow behaviors that's underneath that we're not talking. I want to invite people, like really inspired people, to go and have that tough conversation with love. You start with love, I talk about the sandwich technique. Say something really nice about them. I love you, and I don't like this, has been triggering me, this is challenging for me, and then finish with I love you again. It's like when you do this, like this is true deep ascension work. And there's magic literally that can unfold from difficult conversations. And when you start to shift that inside of you because you're having these difficult conversations, you notice that your external reality starts to shift as well. And look at as you shift and change, and in this journey of ascension, people will drop out and new people will come in. And one thing that I did when I was doing that process, I forgot to say, is I did tell them what annoyed me about them. And I swear at them and I let it all out. Because I feel like sometimes, especially if you're in the world where it's like it's beautiful and it's positive and we do the affirmations, sometimes we don't want to access those parts of us. But a lot of the times it's those very parts of us that create the dream. Because they're like, I just want to process this, but you keep positive affirmation,
Hit
all
me
the
away.
negativity that resides inside of me, just let me. And sometimes like crying and releasing and it's screaming in the car or whatever it is, it's like those parts. When I do sessions with my clients, I say, I notice that sometimes a negative something comes up, like a negative part of their consciousness, and I notice that they want a positive that, yeah, but everything's gonna be okay. I was like, no, 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 no. That part of you wants the microphone, and we're gonna give the microphone to that part of you right now. Just tell me everything. And they start to speak, and then they cry, and then they're like, oh, and they feel like 100 kilos off their shoulders because they just gave the microphone basically to their inner child or to that part of them that just want to tell those friends, like swear at them.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's a really good note to end things on. I teach the same stuff you teach, but it's always nice to have this conversation and have a sounding board and somebody else who does it. Because even when you teach it, you still have your challenges, and sometimes you have it even more because in some
Yeah.
ways, because you're more self-aware. So thank you so much. So if you want to yell, yell. If you want to get something out, get something out. And if you want to see and work with Rubia, go to her website. Is that the best place to go?
Yeah, website or social media. Yes.
Yes, and it's all below. And like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and write a review, write a comment. Tell us that you think Rubia is amazing or she's horrible or whatever, or I'm horrible or I'm great. Write something in the comment section below. Thank you again. Uh, I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Have a beautiful day.